Hi guys, how are you doing? In today's video I am so excited because so many people now are looking to work online, and there has been an explosion of content about working online. I know we're living in hard times. It's very crazy right now, and I also don't want to be insensitive to whatever is happening in the world today, but I have decided to start filming more and to continue creating content more. In today's video, I want to talk about managing your time and managing yourself when you're working from home. And this has not only been inspired by the recent development, especially with spreading all over the world, forcing people to work from home, and I also don't want to be insensitive to whatever is happening in the world. But at the end of the day, this content has people who it touches. So if you're not in the zone of like working online or working from home right now, then you can come back to this video when you feel like you are in that headspace. The first thing you need to do when you're working from home, let me tell you, there's so much, or when you're working online, there's so much time in a day. We all think 24 hours in a day is long. When you divide it by 2, that's like 12 hours when you can be your productive self. When you get out the lunch time and the breakfast time and going out for a walk time, you're only left with like 7 to 8 productive hours in a day. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you audit your time. Most people who work online sometimes take more than one project. So sometimes you may have one big project taking the biggest chunk of your time, and then you have other smaller projects. Without a proper plan of your time, it's going to be impossible for you to be able to plan your time. So how I love to plan my time is I use the good old to-do list. I have so many notebooks, guys, and all of them, what I do is I just in the morning I write what are my main goals for the day. I also love to use Trello, which is a tool I've talked about so many times. It's also a way I plan my day. And I also like to divide my tasks into 4 quadrants. So I have the urgent and important, I have the not urgent and important. I'm gonna link that here so that you can see the 4 quadrants I use to prioritize my time. The next thing I have learned is do not bite more than you can chew. When it comes to working online, sometimes you feel like, oh, I can manage, this is easy for me, I can do this, I can do this. But when you get to the actual doing of the work, it becomes so much. For example, if you're a writer and you pick like a 30-page like ebook to write in a day, that is obviously overkill, thinking that you have other projects as well. So you have to really, I always believe in under promising and over delivering. So instead of taking so many projects because the money looks good, just take what you can do very well. There's no need to take 10 projects and all of them you're going to give your substandard. So what I like to do is like work with 3 people or work on 3 main projects and just do them to the best of my ability. And this is mostly like on my free time in the evenings and also on the weekends. The next thing you need to know, guys, is to manage your invoices. Let me tell you, when it comes to working online, you have to write your own invoices, you have to do your own debt collection, you have to do your own proposals, you have to do all that. And I'm going to film another video that talks about all these documents and what you need to know about these documents. But let me tell you something. Learn how to write invoices. I'm going to link a nice website here that I use to write invoices. Anybody can use it. You can use it on mobile, but I prefer to use it on desktop. This website is the best, and it gives you a nice PDF which is editable with your brand colors, with your logo, and it has a really simple invoice that you can use and you can send your brand. The next thing to know when you're working online, guys, is to have a good file sharing option and a good file management option. Whether you prefer to save all your files on your desktop or on Google Drive, I have seen that having a file that is on the cloud, for example, there's a file sharing option called Mega NZ that is good for sharing images. There's also Google Drive, which is good for sharing documents. There's so many other file sharing options. I have learned that having that in mind is good for you to be able to communicate with the client. So for example, sometimes you don't have time to keep attaching like videos you have edited which are so big, or sending like dissertations. All you can do is send a link to where you have uploaded that. And you know what's the best thing, guys? With power cuts and everything, you can be able to save your document on the cloud and it won't get lost. So the worst thing is that let's say lights have gone out and the client wants to know how far are you with my work, or how far are you with this proposal, or how far are you with this document. When your file sharing option is online and you're working on it online, say for example on Google Drive, you can be able to tell them, you know what, I don't have lights, or this and this happened, I am on the move, but you can have a look of you can have a look on the draft that I have saved on the cloud, and they can be able to see that. But if you're only working on your desktop all the time, sometimes it's crazy. You have to wait for your lights to come back, or you have to wait, let's say you're traveling to arrive at your destination to get Wi-Fi so that you can be able to share that. One thing I have noticed is continue updating your Google Drive or the places where you're saving your documents, because you never know what could happen. All these are things that happen when you're working online. The next thing is time management. I talked about planning, but what about time management? You know, you can write so many things in your to-do list. Like my to-do list are so long. You can write long to-do lists, but you find that you have only done 2 things in the day, either because you thought that some of the tasks would take a short time, or you're just lousy in time management, like some of us are. Yeah, I sometimes get carried away on YouTube tabs. YouTube is just, and Twitter, I get carried away and I get distracted sometimes. But if you have a good time management, I love to set my time in the hour. So I love to say that for these 2 hours, this is what I'll work on. For this 1 hour, this is what I'll work on, and I continue ticking on them. What I like is calendar blocking, where you can plan your day to the hour, color coordinate, and I do that on Google Calendar. So make sure you really work on that. And one thing I've noticed about time management is, when you're in the zone of working, yes, you will work, but when you get out of that zone, getting back into the zone is always the hardest thing. I really try as much as possible to tackle the hardest tasks in the beginning of the day, and that really works well for me. The next thing is to change your environment. Because I work from home and I work online most of the time, I've noticed that the weeks that I spend Monday to Friday at home, I realize that by Friday my mind is already tired. No matter how amazing or inspired I have been through the week, by Friday I'm already tired because I've been sitting on the same seat, spending all my time in the same house. So what I like to do is mix it up. I have a day for errands and for doing all my meetings and for doing everything that I need to do, meeting clients and all that, and also my work. So I make sure, like, on Wednesdays I'm in town meeting people, I'm in Westlands, wherever I'm meeting people, and by the weekend I'm back. And maybe by Friday I like to treat myself. I like to go to a cafe near me or anywhere else around me, and I can be able to go and work there. Sometimes all you need is a change of scenery. All you need is to order that latte from somewhere else, have it, and it gives you so much focus. Another thing I like is working in co-working spaces. Co-working spaces give me this amazing vibe when I'm there, especially if I'm working during the day and I see other people who are already working on their dreams. I feel so inspired, and I try to think like, oh, maybe that's a young CEO, he's building his tech company, or maybe that's something like that. So I also feel inspired, like, wow, that person looks so young, they look like they have their life together, blah blah blah, why can't I be that? So I love the vibe of co-working spaces, and they make me just get my life together. The next thing I want to tell you guys is the mental health. One thing people don't talk about is the issue about mental health, especially when you're working online. It's easy to get tired of working online, especially if you work from home. It's easy to just get low and sad, even if sometimes, like, some of these things are like, there's no time in your life you can be happy 24/7. I've noticed that spending my time just in one spot forever, like sitting on the same seat, working on the same thing, doing the same routine, sometimes it's really tiring. It really does a number on my mental health. So what I like to do is, number one, get out of the house, take breaks, schedule in workouts, just get out of the house, especially if you work from home. I also like to schedule time for friends, because it's very easy to become a cocoon when you it's very easy to become isolated when you work online, because you've just been working in your house. And even a friend of mine was sharing with me that she developed social anxiety because she was so used to working from home and she never interacted with people. So this one time her work sent her to go for a networking session, and she froze because she had been used to working for herself for 2 months. So what I like to do is challenge myself. I really love to go for events, and thankfully the industry that I am in, I can go for so many events and also keep myself current. I also like to film. I also have a blog, a wine blog. So those are like my passion projects that keep me inspired and keep my mental health in check. So those are just a few things on how to manage yourself when you're working online. And if you are new to this working online business, it's great, it's amazing, and you can be able to choose your hours. You know, you can have freedom and autonomy and all that, but at the end of the day, it's just a job like any other. It's just that you're working in your house or working location independently. So those are my tips, guys. Let me know down below, and remember to keep safe, and we will get through this. Thank you, guys. Bye.